yang paling penting lagi, tidak semua kebenaran itu baik. Ada kebenaran yang tidak baik. Antara lain kebenaran untuk mengungkit persoalan. Biarpun benar sekali itu persoalan diungkit-ungkit, tapi itu tidak baik.
Tapi Pak, bagi jutaan orang yang anggota keluarganya dibunuh,
Ya,
bagi mereka kan kalau kebenaran bisa diungkapkan itu baik.
To me, in documentary,
I believe that
Truth is
a very crucial aspect.
Truth is
the integrity of the filmmaker,
balancing their accuracy and their emotional impact.
the truth is
a story
not fully presented.
that is imperfect.
Poetic or performative.
At the end, they are still filmed.
You're trying to retell the facts in a story.
the footage are necessarily have to be candid.
Where does documentary come from? The questions of documentary's origin is inseparable from how we define truth in cinema. By today's definition, a documentary is a film, television, that presents fact and information about a subject. This definition implies a transparent connection between reality and its representation, putting documentary as a medium assumed to show the world as it is. However, Joshua Oppenheimer, the director of The Act of Killing, challenges this assumption. This idea of creating reality is quite similar to Flaherty, who actually coined the term documentary. He argued that reality must sometimes be distorted in order to capture its true spirit. Although this view contradicts with the factuality of documentary, it closely aligns with apparatus theory, which hold that cinema is inherently ideological. This is contradicting, because how can facts themselves carry ideology? This brings us to our core argument, that a cinematic apparatus is present in every documentary. Facts don't enter a film neutrally. The selection, even exclusion of facts, ordering, and editing of facts inevitably frame meaning. Much like the Kuleshov effect, it is through these intentional choices that shapes how audience experience a film. The documentary filmmaker therefore always brings an ideology to the subject, whether it is to be received as information, as entertainment, or as a moral confrontation. Although Oppenheimer and Flaherty share the same rejection of documentary as pure truth, their filmmaking practices diverge significantly. In 1922, the world met Nanook. Robert Flaherty's film was sold as a transparent window into the raw, primitive life of the Inuit. But as we look closer, that window begins to look more like a reflection of a Western fantasy. Through our findings, the deliberate arrangement of everything in a frame, we find that Flaherty didn't capture reality, he built one. Nanook wasn't even his name, he was a hunter named Ali Karialak. The truth here was carefully staged. Flaherty made them hunt with harpoons for the camera, even though they've had rifles for years. The iconic igloo? It was a 3-wall set built to let enough light in for the camera. Even the famous gramophone scene, where Nanook bites a record in confusion, was a performance to make him look naive. His defense was that staging was necessary to preserve an essential truth. So, how did Flaherty get away with it? This is where apparatus theory applies. Jean-Louis Baudry argued that the cinematic apparatus, the camera, the projector, the dark room, works to conceal its own construction. By hiding those cutaway igloo walls and using seamless editing, Flaherty made the technology invisible. When the apparatus is hidden, the audience became a passive subject and accept the reproduced reality as an absolute truth. This concealment serves a heavy ideological functions. By keeping the audience passive, Flaherty sold the myth of the noble savage. He froze the Inuit in a pre-modern past, stripping them of their actual contemporary identity to satisfy the Western gaze. Think about Vertov. While he exposed the camera to reveal the social truth, Flaherty hid it to naturalize a colonial myth. He didn't capture the spirit of the Inuit, he captured his own romantic ideal. Ultimately, Nanook of the North shows us that the apparatus is never neutral, it's a machine of ideology, and in this case, it was used to perpetuate a lie under the guise of authenticity. In Nanook of the North, Flaherty marketed the film as a factual account and created a century of misconception about the Inuit culture. Consequently, documentary can be damaging to the subject and the viewers if not created truthfully. Since ideology is unavoidable, as the cinematic apparatus always stages reality at some level, in order to have an honest documentary, we need to shift the focus away from the impossible goal of objectivity and towards the goal of transparency.
Supaya jangan darah itu terlalu banyak.
Like Nanook of the North, the act of killings relies heavily on stage performance. However, while Flaherty used staging to romanticize a myth and conceal the mechanics, Oppenheimer uses staging to expose the ideological fantasies that sustain historical violence. Both filmmakers intervene in reality, but they do so towards fundamentally different ends. In The Act of Killings, Joshua Oppenheimer invites former Indonesian Death Squad leaders Anwar Congo to reenact their 1965 and 1966 mass killings in whatever cinematic style they choose. This reenactment ranged from gangster films and western to surreal musical numbers. The perpetrators are not forced, they eagerly construct spectacles that reflects how they want to be seen. However, unlike Nanook, these performances are never presented as truth. Where Flaherty used staging to reinforce a romantic fantasy, Oppenheimer allows history to unravel. The camera does not correct the perpetrators' lies. Instead, it lets them expand until the contradictions becomes visible. The result is not heroic myth, but an exposure of denial and ideological self-deception.
Karma itu seperti
Oppenheimer's goal is not simply to accuse the perpetrator, but to confront a suppressed historical trauma. He is also explicit about being an American filmmaker documenting political conflict in Indonesia. This transparency matters. By acknowledging his origin rather than claiming neutrality, Oppenheimer allows viewers to critically assess the film's perspective. The film deliberately uses false performances to gain a deeper truth. As Anwar repeatedly relives killings, his confidence begins to crack. His psychological conflicts gradually becomes physical. Coughing, nausea, hesitation, and silence suggest unresolved trauma beneath the act. These moments would likely never emerge through observational documentary alone. Here, truth is not a factual record, but an emotional confession presented via construction. Like Nanook of the North, the act of killing rejects the idea that documentaries simply capture reality. The key difference lies in how apparatus is used. Flaherty hires construction to make fiction appear factual, while Oppenheimer exposes the apparatus to show how reality is already shaped by ideology. This creates transparency between filmmakers and subject. Oppenheimer listens rather than judges, treating Anwar as a human being rather than simply a perpetrator. This transparency extends to the audience. The film does not instruct viewers how to feel about Anwar, but puts him within a system of propaganda and violence. Finally, by foregrounding the camera as an active agent, one that the subjects perform for, the film makes the apparatus part of the film. Ultimately, Oppenheimer's film revealed what Flaherty sought to conceal. There's no single truthful documentary form. Documentary is never free of construction. The difference lies in how the apparatus is used. Flaherty's apparatus stabilizes myth, Oppenheimer's destabilizes it. Where Nanook of the North freezes a culture in an ideal past, the act of killings forces history to unravel, implicating both subject and viewers in an ongoing moral reckoning. By foregrounding the camera, we move from damaging misconception toward a profound understanding of the human psyche.